Hello fun people, I'm Isaac Carlson, and recently I was asked whether or not I thought Shifu would pass on to the spirit realm like Oogway, and that question got my mind turning, not only to attempt to figure out if he would ascend in a similar way to his master, but I also began to think about what Shifu's role would be until his passing and what his legacy will become. Now, as far as we know, Master Shifu isn't close to dying. Hopefully he's going to be alive and ticking for long into the future so that he can continue to mentor the other masters and learn everything he can about connecting to the world and creating peace for himself. I really hope he has a long time remaining, especially since after Kung Fu Panda 3, Shifu seems to be at a similar place to Oogway in the original film. Like Oogway, Shifu is now the senior master of the Jade Palace, has relinquished his teaching role, and continues to learn from and provide wisdom to the other masters around him. Now, Shifu is able to spend the necessary time to achieve mastery of self, but I fear that his time could be over sooner than any of us would hope, and I think there's good reasons to believe that. Even though Shifu is at a similar place to Oogway when the Dragon Warrior was chosen, the rattling truth for me is that Shifu is aging, is possibly slowing down, and isn't the next Oogway, which means that he's vulnerable and his future is currently unknown. Directly from Oogway himself, Oogway told Po that he was the true successor to his legacy, which honestly made me feel like Shifu got totally slighted. I mean, Shifu was the one who directly trained under Oogway. He was the one who saw Oogway ascend, and he was the one who mentored the Dragon Warrior. Because of all of those factors, I just always assumed that Shifu was the one who was continuing Oogway's legacy, but that's not the case. It's Po who rose to fill Oogway's place in the world. And yeah, I think it makes sense that Po is actually the successor to Master Oogway. Not only was Po someone who naturally was able to quickly discover the truths of the universe and was able to break down spiritual barriers that took many other masters decades to get through, and he was the one who was said to connect to the past and the future of Kung Fu. And I'm proud of what he's accomplished, but sometimes I feel bad for the other masters. Po is awesome, but at times his awesomeness made it difficult to see what Master Shifu's role would become in the Valley of Peace. Since Shifu wasn't chosen by Oogway to be his successor, would he be remembered? How might he die? And at the time of his death, would he ascend? Well, even though Shifu isn't Oogway's successor, I think his role in the Valley of Peace will be remembered fondly because he was the one who trained the Dragon Warrior. Together, Shifu and Po were able to work together to fight through their demons and unlock their potential. Sure, Master Shifu isn't going to be written about as the Grand Protector of China, but he played an instrumental role in assuring that the next hero would be able to rise, and that quest might be over soon. We've seen his growth in Kung Fu Panda 2 and 3 through the green wrap with gold accents that he wears, which is meant to symbolize the wisdom and peace that he has been able to find. We also see that he no longer hunches over, but now carries himself with a strong posture to show that he has grown more confident in himself and has removed many of the emotional burdens that weighed him down. After confronting Tai Lung, embracing Po as the Dragon Warrior, and discovering happiness again in his life, Shifu has become a kinder, more thoughtful, and loving teacher with a symbol on his back that connects him to Oogway. But while Master Shifu has grown so much, he has not truly reached enlightenment yet, meaning it's possible that he wouldn't ascend in the same way as Oogway if his time to die came too soon. Even though Shifu was elevated to Oogway's position as a spiritual leader, there have been times where he is strained by the pressure and responsibilities of looking over others, since he has been shown to not fully relinquish his desire for control in the past. Oogway recognized in Shifu that his illusion of control was one of his greatest downfalls, which unfortunately continued to come through at times like the Winter Feast, when he wanted to create order and follow traditions. We also see that Shifu hasn't mastered Qi, which means that he has not achieved mastery of self yet, but that seems to be the last part of his journey. Master Shifu must continue to look inward and train to unite with the world he lives in. That's why he continues to attempt to understand his connection to Qi and the mortal world through Po's guidance, and isn't ashamed to ask for the Dragon Warrior's teachings. Now that Po has surpassed Shifu's knowledge, the master has humbly become a student again, which I think shows that he will soon reach a clarity similarly to Oogway. But now that this reversal has occurred, Shifu's journey might be coming to a close soon. When Master Oogway ascended to the spirit realm, he did so after he had learned all that he needed, and his presence was no longer required. His time to pass had come, and I believe Shifu is on the same track. track. While I don't believe Shifu will ever be as powerful as Oogway or Po, I think his mind will be as clear and as free as theirs. Through Oogway's words, it's been established that Shifu isn't meant to watch over the Valley of Peace forever, so it seems like it's possible the next Kung Fu Panda story might force Po to face the world on his own without Shifu, since he can't really assist Po much longer. Shifu may have to let go of his life to let the Dragon Warrior forge his own way, but I also think that even if he doesn't come to the same realization as Oogway that he must move on, it's possible he won't get to decide when Po is ready to be without him. I'm sure there will continue to be threats and villains that challenge the warriors from the Valley of Peace, which means that Master Shifu might eventually come against a foe who would be capable of killing him, and to some extent, we've already seen that play out. Tai Lung had Shifu pinned down, Shen almost took his life with his cannons, and Kai turned him into a zombie. If an enemy as powerful as any of these other villains could clash with Shifu without Po's intervention, he might be killed. And it's going to be very interesting to see how an event like this might affect Po. While I am confident that the Dragon Warrior will be able to go on without Shifu, I think there's a strong possibility that Po won't be prepared for that loss in his life in a similar way to how Shifu was destroyed when Oogway had to leave him. But regardless of whether Master Shifu lets go of his life in the mortal world or is tragically killed by a new formidable villain, I think he will follow Oogway's path because he's become noble and wise. To me, I believe his legacy as a father, a teacher, and a spiritual warrior show that he will be able to become enlightened, so when his purpose in the world is complete, he will finally ascend to the spirit realm. Fun people, make sure to subscribe and click the beautiful bell, and then click on another magical video in the description or on the screen. Finally, as always, thank you to my patrons, thanks for watching, and have a magical day.